Hey guys, Team Rival, back once again. I know it's been a little bit of vacation for me, having a good summer so far. It's going to be a few days before this video is up actually, because my laptop is broken. I had to send it away, so probably going to be like a week from now that you see this video. But I just kind of want to get into this because I already shot this video and it was kind of long and I didn't really like what I saw. I ended up recording it, it was like 16 or 17 minutes, but my first impressions on alot Fantasia, and I do have a lot to say about this game, so if you're interested, watch on. I'll explain every single detail that I can and try to keep it under 15 minutes. And if you don't really care, then you don't have to watch this video, I won't be offended. But alot Fantasia on the Wii, and the Wii is a very, very, very starved system for RPGs. Yeah, there's some on Virtual Console here and there, the major ones, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, etc., etc. DS is a very heavily saturated market for RPGs. Not that that's a bad thing, it's not oversaturated, but if you need an RPG, you can go to the DS and find any. So I was looking forward to alot Fantasia, and I picked it up, and I'm just going to kind of run through everything, tell you guys what I think about things that I've noticed and made note of during my playthrough. I'm about 20 hours into the game, which I think is a decent amount to give a first impression / review on. You really can't play 2 hours into an RPG and assume that you've seen everything. You gotta, play. I think this game is gonna be like 40 hours, so you gotta play at least a decent chunk of it, which I have at this point, like 22 hours in, to be more exact. But okay, the things I kind of want to get, out of the way right now are voice acting is terrible. It's just what do you expect from a low budget, voice acting? Is just no emotion, kind of monotone voices. They're not like terrible, not the worst I've ever heard, but they could have just left it in Japanese. I never really understood the appeal of creating games that have, the English voice acting when it's, an RPG, and the only people who are going to be picking up a JRPG are JRPG fans. This is not exactly a mainstream title, so just leave it as the fans want it. But whatever. Graphics, the pre-rendered cutscenes are absolutely some of the worst I've ever seen. I don't know why they even tried. They don't sync up the mouths with the voices. Some games they kind of do it and it still looks bad. This game, I think they just had the Japanese and they just went to, oh, just throw it in. There you go. There's the cutscene. So, in that regard, the graphics, the in-game graphics are decent. They just look like a Wii game. What a Wii game can do. You know what that is so far. So decent in that regard. Music is okay. Typical RPG music. Nothing really spectacular in that regards. Everything is satisfactory, I think, more or less. So then we get into the story and stuff, and the story is pretty straightforward, kind of stereotypical. Characters are very stereotypical. They all kind of act, like I said, nothing really stands out here. The game is $40, so you're really getting $40 worth, I think, out of this game. Plays this mercenary named the Lark, and he meets up with this girl, this summoner, not really a summoner, like a magic person / summoner type thing, named Rifia, and they have to go around and I don't really want to get too much into the story, because if I was to expose what the main purpose of their tale was, I'd also be giving spoilers, and I don't really want to be doing that. So that they end up getting involved in something, and it ends up being a lot bigger than they originally thought it was. Yada 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 yada. You end up 20 hours in where I am right now. The story is very fast paced. I like it. There's really, from the beginning of the game, I always felt like I was consistently making progress in finding things out about the story, which that's a big problem in RPGs nowadays. Is the pacing is very off for the story. In a game like Persona, which a lot of people praise, I have some problems with Persona with the pacing, in that the game can drag really badly sometimes, just going from the day-to-day life. So that game doesn't really have this problem. That's why I think I'm staying interested into it, and I'll probably end up beating it, I think, probably within the next couple weeks, probably by the end before school starts. So that's pretty decent. Now moving on to the battle system, I have an absolute whole lot to say about the battle system, the weapons, the magic, all that kind of stuff. The battle system. Okay, so you have 3 people in your party. Sometimes you have a guest, but the guest is AI controlled, so you can't, influence what they do aside from revive them and heal them and all that stuff. So you you have this bar, and it's called I think it's the AP bar, the active points bar. And let's say it's 15, you have 15 out of 15 points. Now each action you do has a certain, amount of points it takes away. Like let's say for an example, an attack is 2 points, so you want to use an attack with Lark. So you select that, and now you have 13 out of 15 points to use and then you can kind of go from there, so you decide how many points you have and what you would like to do with those points. If you want to use 15 points just to do physical attacks with Lark, then by all means you can do that. You don't have to, you can attack with one character the whole entire game, although that is highly not recommended. Hypothetically, you can do that. So that's pretty cool. And then that also brings in other things, such as there's these attacks called Excel attacks, which are kind of like special attacks that the characters have. Those take a certain amount of points away, and they also take away from an SP bar, which is out of 100%. It'll say like it'll take 3 AP points and 40% of your SP. So you got to build up your SP, which you build up just by doing attacks, and you just if you get attacked, you gain some. So it's that kind of stuff, which is it's good, and it evokes a lot of strategy because you want to know when's the right time to use these attacks, and should you be doing this at this time. It's pretty interesting. And then another really cool thing this game does is you can sync your attacks. Like let's say you attack 3 times in a turn with Lark, so that'll make like him do a combo attack, and the damage will be a little bit higher, and he'll gain a little bit more on his SP bar. So that's cool. You can also do that with magic. You can, like, if there's 2 people casting fire, or like 1 person casting fire twice, those attacks will sync up and do more damage that way, and it'll be a stronger attack. Also can do that with the Excel attacks. If you have all 3 people use an Excel attack, they'll use the Excel attack. You always have to be aiming at the same character. You can't like attack different characters or it won't work. Attacking the same enemy, and then they'll all use it'll be like a powered up version of their move. They'll use that, and then they'll go into like a super ultra attack afterwards, and that'll do a lot of damage. So that's a lot of strategy. This game invokes a lot of strategy with the battle system. So then there's the magic, the Excel attacks, the regular attacks, how you want to use them. You really have to be on your toes in this game because some of the bosses will kick your ass. You do have to grind a little bit though. I grinded for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, just to get, I need to get my level up like once or twice, and then I was able to get past where I was stuck. But you do have to do a little bit of grinding. That's not too bad though. Overall, I think it's a pretty decent game. Some other things I want to get into are like the weapons / magic system. The weapon system works as such. You know how in a typical RPG, you go in and like each if you buy a weapon, it'll increase your attack by X amount of points, and you always want to be buying new weapons because it'll keep increasing your attack because they're stronger weapons. That does not apply in this game. The way the weapon system works is as such. There's this little grid. You'll buy a weapon, you'll go to a store, you'll buy a weapon, and it'll come with this little grid, and this little grid will have like some preset gems in it, depending on which weapon you buy. Maybe a weapon, if it's a plant, a plant weapon, it'll be named after like a plant killer weapon. It'll have like a little like gem that one of its effect is, you'll do stronger attacks against plants. And you have to keep using this weapon. There's three levels this weapon can increase, and by increasing these levels, you can either unlock new abilities in the weapon and unlock more space for the gems to be put in. So you'll do that. You'll fight in random battles. They level up pretty quickly. I'm not gonna lie. I've never really noticed that it took a long time for me to level up a weapon. And then once you get the whole grid filled out, and then you'll get gems along the way from either getting new weapons, or you'll just get them, or whatever. However you get the new gems. If you fill out the whole grid, you unlock like a special ability for that weapon. Like let's say again with the plant killer, the special ability, as long as you always keep that grid filled, that special ability will be in effect. Maybe it'll be like, oh, you'll do additional damage to plants, or like have an invulnerability to poison, which plants do cast poison most of the time in the games. So that's pretty cool. And then for the magic system, it's also interesting. It's this little there are these little I don't know what they're called. Like it's not really a grid, but it's just like this little circular thing with like these like inputs, and you can input these gems. You'll find these gems throughout your quest. There'll be like a water gem or a fire gem, and there'll be a different element. And then you go to these workshops in the towns, and they have these you can buy these like more slots. Yeah, that's what I could call them, slots. You can buy more slots, so you can have more gems, or you can upgrade the magic, or you can upgrade your MP so you have more MP points to do more attacks. And then via these slots, you can either make some of your magic stronger or combine the effects. Like, let's say, I don't really know what the exact combinations are, but let's say hypothetically you have like an earth and like a fire attack, and that can combine and create a light attack. So that invokes a lot of strategy. There's a lot of strategy in this game, which I was kind of surprised with, because when I first picked this game up, I didn't really think it was going to be too difficult, or for me to like manage things. It's not very like in a Star Ocean game where the menus are all over the place. Everything is kind of customizable. More than I would actually like. This game, I think, does a very good job of keeping everything like in proportion. Like they don't really make you do one thing too much. You always kind of do the same things like the perfect amount, if that makes any sense at all. But another thing I want to mention is it reminds me a lot of a Tales game. You'll know what, if you pick this game up, you'll see what I mean. On the overworld, you run around on the overworld going from town to town or whatever, and there's the monsters that actually spawn on the screen, and you can go and fight them. You can try and get the first attack. And that's kind of like a Tales game. They also have these little conversations that if you're also out on the overworld, you'll hit the L button, which I'm using the classic controller, which I highly recommend for this game to use the classic controller. So you'll use that, and then it'll like do the little stupid Tales-esque conversations that we're all used to, and they're usually never helpful, and I really don't read them. I just click through them just for, I guess, completion's sake. If they have something interesting to say, which they haven't yet, then I'll read it, but otherwise it's pretty ho-hum. Other than that, should you buy it or should you not buy it? I think the perfect way to describe this game is in a situation such as this. Let's say hypothetically you just finished Final Fantasy 13, and you also have Dragon Quest 9 on the DS. But you don't want to go from one AAA RPG to the next AAA RPG. You kind of want to just take a break, not really have to play anything that's going to require a lot of time. I would definitely pick this game up. It's not going to, wow you or amaze you or even impress you, but I think I'm a Tales fan, as you may or may not know, and I picked this game up and I've been thoroughly enjoying it so far. It's not a perfect game. I do have some problems with it, as I had mentioned. But overall, it's decent. It's worth $40, I think. So definitely pick this up if you're a fan of RPGs and you're looking for a little niche RPG to play. Then pick it up, try it out. $40, can't go wrong. Hopefully this is under 15 minutes. I really hope so. I don't want to have to record this again. I kind of cut some things out and shortened some things up that I wanted to say. So hope you guys enjoyed. I will be doing some other videos and stuff. I've just been busy trying to have a life and do things that I enjoy outside of YouTube, but I won't forget you guys, that's for sure. So until then, I'm out of here.